The boy Dub Deuce in the building.
All right, what up, what up, what up? It is that guy Dub, and I'm back with another video. How you guys doing at the end of the day, shouty? I'm good money. Now, today, for our next episode and installment of There's Definitely P in the Dating Pool, we got Miss Abby in the building. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you today?
I can't complain. Now, we're going to start off first. What's been your experience in the dating pool?
So for me, it's not just pee in the dating pool. It's straight dookie water. And I date both men and women. So it's like when you just date one, it's a little, but when you date both, and for me, it's dating women's harder. Dating women is a lot harder than it is dating men. Just in my personal experience. And because not only do I date both, like I date both at the same time, because I'm not only am I bisexual, I'm polyamorous as well, or trying to, get that throuple going. And it's really hard because it's like men, it seems like men try to, see what women want. They just take it a little too literally. They see a woman be like, oh, I want a man who, pull my hair and smack my ass, and they don't realize you gotta build up to that point. It's not something you can just walk up to a woman and be like, oh, pull her hair, smack her ass, and she gonna be turned on. And then with women don't want to put no effort in. They want to just be praised for just existing, and they want all this stuff. And it's like, you got to put some effort in as well. Like, you can't just expect someone to be like, oh, she exists, I'm blessed. There's work to be done. You got to put that work in, and women don't want to put the work in. And it's a lot harder, even as a female, to date women than it is men. That's just been my experience thus far.
Now, is it with that, because you said nowadays a lot of women say that they're the prize. Now, you just kind of touched on it a little bit. You said they want everything for just existing and things like that. So how do you personally navigate that? Because I know you said it was hard, but how do you navigate
it? Sometimes I feel like I just can't, because I feel like everybody can be a prize in a relationship, but like I said, the majority of women that I seem to come across, they think that they're a prize, and they can't seem to explain what they can offer in terms of anything that's not, okay, I got a job, I got a house, I got a car, I got this, I got that, I got my own. Okay, to me, that doesn't necessarily make you a prize, because you just doing what a grown adult should do. Like, but what outside of that, like, what's your character like? Don't come to me and be like, oh, I look like Kim Kardashian and I have all my own stuff and that makes me a prize. But your personality is that of, if you ain't got all of it, it don't matter what you look like. If your personality is trash, that makes your looks go from this to this. Like, that's, and it's just hard because it feels harder because, one, I am a woman, and I see it's like all they can do is come up with excuses. Oh, I work 3 jobs. I work 3 jobs. I still try to find time to put that effort in. Okay. Oh, I'm a mom. I got kids. Baby, I've got 5 kids. I make time for what I want to make my time for. And the same women that make up all these excuses, they'll also be the same ones getting on to other people for not doing the same thing that they're making excuses for. So sometimes it doesn't feel like I can navigate it at all. Like, at best, thus far, I've had a few like people that I've become friends with that I'm grateful for, and that's nice. But as far as on the dating end, I feel like I feel like Clark and Kent, or whatever his name is, I need Sacagawea to come help me navigate this dating, because I ain't got no direction. I can't get that feel for women and what it is that they're wanting, because all they want is, well, just look at me, I'm the prize. You should be blessed that I'm even looking in your direction. And I'm very old school. I'm just not with the new way that.
So
I just can't connect them.
Right. So what are some of your instant deal breakers?
Oh Lord, see, this is where people don't like me. any woman that uses the word patriarchy, if she uses the words bare minimum, if she uses the words, oh, what's that? What's that? They all like to say. If your view of feminism as a female is only what men do wrong, I don't care about, if you say, oh, I'm a stripper. Okay, cool. I don't give a fuck about that. Make that money. If you say, oh, I work at McDonald's, cool. Making money. If you say, you know what, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I don't judge by any of that. It's all about like the character and what you're willing to put into it. So if you're like, nah, I just want to exist. That's all that it is for me. There's not much else that is gonna be a deal breaker unless your personality. It's all about that. If your personality can't keep the vibes up here, and I'm not saying that everything's gotta constantly be like, oh, yeah, because I know it's not. That's not realistic. But also the phrase "positive vibes only" for that same reason. Life is not peaches and roses and cherries and constant positivity. People experience real negative emotions. Okay, and I'm not saying anybody's got to be out here constantly like, oh, today and being a downer. But when people are not feeling at their best, and you're like, oh, I can't be around that. I get that, but if you love somebody, you're gonna want to experience them in their full 100% genuine range. They're good, they're bad, they're ugly. All of that. If I cannot be my 100% genuine self, other than
I
that,
definitely did that.
I vibe with anybody. I don't care.
Okay, then what are some deal breakers when it comes to men? Like, especially with specifically like in the DMs.
Now this is where I might sound a little bit more more like a average woman. Don't send me dick pics. Like if it's the first thing you do, like, okay, if we start talking and the vibes are good and the conversation starts to go that way, okay, it might be a little bit of a turn on if the vibes are already feeling good. And I'm thinking, if in my head I'm thinking I might want to have sex with you, then that's probably not going to be a turn off for me. But it's the very first thing you do, and all you oh well, I can do this and I can do that and I can do this. Okay, I need you to stimulate all this up here before you want to stimulate that down there, because if this don't get stimulated, that's not gonna get stimulated. It's I just can't do it. Let's see. It's hard because technically I'm already in a relationship with a man, but like I said, we are polyamorous, so we are looking for multiple partners. I do go out with as well, like they'll take me on dates and stuff like that. When the conversation feels forced, like when you can tell they're just trying to like throw stuff out, and it's like this feels really awkward. I like it when the conversation just flows genuinely and naturally. Like it's just so much better than just trying to like grasp for straws. Or if it's too many questions, I don't want to feel like I'm in a job interview. Like,
okay,
things like that.
Gotcha. Now this is something I wanted to ask because you said you are polyamorous. Can there still be cheating in a polyamorous relationship?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So anything that, just like in a monogamous relationship, if it's sneaky, if it's done behind closed doors, if you're not upfront and honest about it, okay, so like if my man was to come to me and say, hey, I met this girl, we might go out, we might have sex, blah blah blah, that's not cheating. That's because he came to me and he said, hey, and I can do the same thing. But if it's conversation between him and the other person is, oh, my girl can't find out, or don't tell nobody about it, anything that's just sneaky and like you feel like you got to cover it up, it's the same thing as if
Well, do you feel like you personally need to vet whoever they're messing with, and you said, and will you accept it if they want to vet whoever you're dealing with?
Oh no, I don't. My man will come to me out of respect and say, "Hey, I met this girl. She might be a potential. Here's my concerns. Here's my here's the pros. Here's the cons. But I'm just gonna be cautious. Same way if I was single and entering a new relationship by myself, because one, I protect my man, so I don't overstep my boundaries because of the dynamic of our relationship. But I'm also I'm gonna be watching for those things that be like, hey, just wanted you to know I saw this, and I just want to bring it to your attention. I'm not going to make it seem like I'm being petty or catty or anything like that. But if it's a concern to me, I might be like, hey, this is what I saw. This is how it made me feel. What are your thoughts on it? But no, he navigates his end of it with somebody else on his own and just lets me know. And then same vice versa. If somebody comes in like, hey, they wanted to take me out, this is why I'm feeling it, or this is why I'm not feeling it. And he doesn't, we have each other's back, but it's not like a hovering, like, oh, so who are you talking to today? Or anything like that. There's not jealousy or anything like that, which is actually really liberating, because prior to this, I was only in monogamous relationships, and that jealousy like that is suffocating. It's extremely suffocating. So, yeah.
Well, how do you navigate jealousy? Like, let's say your man's feeling this, he's feeling you too, but he's feeling her or paying her more attention than he's paying you. You said, now how do you address situations like that?
So I haven't actually been in that situation a few times, where I won't say that I'm jealous. I'm insecure, because I always have told him from the beginning, these are the things that I've been through. And I try not to let it affect our relationship now, especially in a situation like that. It's just, if it does, I'll usually try to say to him, hey, you've been doing this and it's kind of making me feel left out. So I try to bring it up in a way that doesn't come across as jealous, just like, hey, it's kind of making me feel a little insecure, but I'm human, so that's not always the case. I have had my times where it's like, I get a little bratty, and it's like, it's all because I'm feeling neglected, but it's not because of anything that he's doing. It's because of me still dealing with my issues from the past. Trying not to let it, but like I said, I'm human. So I try to be mature about stuff and come and say, hey, this is bothering me, but I have my moments.
Okay. Now, in your opinion, how important is it for you and somebody you're dealing with to align politically?
It's actually, never been something that's been at the forefront of any relationship type for me, whether it's somebody that I'm with in a relationship. I actually have a really good female friend that our views politically, religiously, as mothers are on complete opposite ends, but we're like this. It's just something that it's better if it does, because then you don't have to worry about potential arguments, but it's not something that's at the forefront of my mind. So if I go in, I'm not worried about telling him, oh, hey, I'm pro-choice, what are you? Or I'm pro-life, what are you? It's not something that I feel has a bigger bearing on the relationship than other things do. So it's not, it's kind of, like, I know that if we don't align politically, it could cause, some debates or disagreements in the future, but it's not something that's like, okay, he has to be okay with this, he has to be okay with that, he has to be okay with that, because he's his own person. They're their own person. And as long as well, I believe this, you should have to believe that, or I believe this and you should have to believe that, I try to keep it out, because that's just how
Right. Okay. Now, a lot online, we see people using with the list. I won't eat here. I won't go there. You said this. When you see that kind of stuff, how does that hit you?
It irritates the fuck out of me when I see that shit because oh, this is something I actually get a lot of flack for this because it's one of those things where it's like people consider me anti-feminist for this. If you have to have a list of places you will not go on a first, to me that's not a not explain that oh women don't make as much as men, the economy's hard, it's hard to survive, we don't make enough money, and then try to be like oh the only men that can date me are the one that makes six figures and will take me to a 5-star restaurant on the first date. If we can't go out on the first date and get coffee, if we can't go to the bookstore, if we can't just go to McDonald's and talk over a freaking, get a 20-piece nugget and large fries and split that ish, we're not gonna last because what you're telling me is that when things get hard, that is the key sign right there that when things get hard, you're gonna be the first one to dip out. If you're not willing to be there when the money's good, when the money's bad, when the money's indifferent, I don't have no time for it. It irritates the fire out of me every time I see it. Because me, I like to sit down and just have a coffee. I like to sit down and just eat a double cheeseburger every now and then. I like the little stuff. I don't need it, all that big, oh, we have to have six figures. Yeah, everybody likes to live comfortably. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to worry about money. But that, yeah, I could go off on it for days because it's just like, what you mean you don't want to go to Cheesecake Factory? Go to Cheesecake Factory, man. Let's get a. I've never been there. I'm not saying the Cheesecake Factory is good, or that it's bad even, but it's just like, if that's something that you have to do, to me, that's not a standard. Standards should apply to things like loyalty, respect, the obvious things that are actually important. If your standards got to go out to where you want to go to eat, that's a key sign to me. It's not gonna last because when the shit gets hard, you're gonna be the first one to dip, and then I'm gonna be left holding it all by myself, and I ain't with that. You gotta be willing to go for the bad, the ugly.
All right, another thing that we've been seeing a bit here lately, I think it was last week, it was with Dwayne Wade and whoever won the gold in the men's 100 have nail polish on their fingernails. How do you feel about that?
It doesn't bother me. If a man wants to have nail polish on his nails, okay, cool, whatever. What is it? How is it actually affecting anybody's life? Like literally. Like, are you actually gonna sit there and tell me that I saw a man with nail polish on his nails? My life can't continue. It don't affect you. So I've actually been with a bisexual male. My ex-husband, he's the father of 3 of my children. As a bisexual, it doesn't bother me because if you're bisexual, you're into both. You've probably most likely been with both or plan to be with both at some point, even if it's not at the same time. He wore skirts. When I met him, he was in the army and he actually put on this girl's dress and ran around the barracks. Stuff like that, whether you mean it for real, whether you mean it, like I said, if you accept somebody, you accept them as they are. So if you want to put, even if it's just one nail, it don't bother me. If you're somebody that says, you know what, I'm not really, down for wearing nail polish on my nails because I'm a male and I want to feel masculine, as long as you are not using how you feel about it to dog on other people. Just this is my personal preference. That's how it should be, Kat. So it's a non-issue for me because it doesn't affect me. And I've been with somebody who does feminine stuff and it still didn't affect me. It won't.
Okay, like with your stance being on that, is there a step too far for you that you be like, nah, I'm good?
I Without having experienced that step too far, I can't say just thinking about it. Like, I'm without having been in the situation, it's hard to say. Like, if I was with a male and he wanted to transition and become trans, I would probably need some time to either adjust or say, I'm not going to try to stop them. If I'm with a man and he says, hey, you know what, I think I might be trans, I might start to transition as a woman, I'm not going to make him feel bad about it. But I am going to say, okay, you know what, I need time to process this, figure out if it's going to affect my feelings in any way, shape, or form. And even if it does, I'm just going to be honest. But I've never actually been in that situation, so I can't say for sure how it would make me feel. I guess like I said, I'd have to physically be like going through it, but it just depends on the person and what's going on. Like, how is it gonna affect the future? Just as far as like, okay, you know, what toll is this going to take financially? What are we going to have to do to offset this? I don't think there would be a step too far that I would be bothered by, but I've never been in that situation, so I can't speak on it any more definitively than that. Just that I would need time to like process it and figure out if it's affecting my feelings for that person or not. But I'm not gonna do it in a spiteful way. It's not like I'm gonna be like, oh, you want to be a woman? No, bye. I just need time to process it. So
Right. Okay. Now we're gonna flip side a question I asked earlier. You said, let's say you say feeling the other person, or you giving more attention to the other person more than your man. You said he brings that to you. He brings it to you. Yo, I'm feeling. You say, yo, I'm not getting as much attention from you as you said you're giving to them. How do you navigate? You saying back to you said him feeling comfortable.
So for that, just because this one I can actually speak a bit more definitively on, because like I said, the dynamic that we have in our relationship, he comes first. So I don't allow myself to get harder feelings for anybody that's going to make him feel like they're coming before him. So I'll give a situation. When we first met, there was a man that came down. He came down from Charleston, South Carolina, and he actually stayed for like 3 days. So I let him just stay with me because I had my own place, and I didn't. You're coming down. We're gonna be chilling. I know we're gonna be fucking whatever. And what's the point of getting a hotel? You can just chill out with me. Now, in that time, it had already been established with me and my man. If I'm doing something else with somebody, because he's the only person that has permission to pop up at my house unannounced. When I gave him that, when I first met him, I was like, I don't give nobody this type of permission. You pop up at my house unannounced and it's going to be a fight. Like, I don't like that stuff. But when I met him, I told him, I was like, you are allowed to come to my house anytime. Doesn't matter who's there. If you pop up and you're like, hey, I want you to stop him right now and come get me, he comes first. That's how it is now. I will not ever let a situation get to that point. But if he was to come to me and say, hey, I feel like you're doing a little too much for this person over here, then I'm going to adjust that situation, because he's my first. He's the head of my household. He's the head of my life. So if it's anything that makes me feel some type of way, then I'm going to adjust that situation, not because I don't care about the other person or not because I'm not feeling them, but because I don't ever want him to feel disrespected. So I'm going to try not to let it get to that point to begin with. But if he does, then I'm going to adjust it and make sure that because he's already told me before, like, you know, he likes the fact that I don't let nobody else come before him. And that's just like, that's my personal thing. That's the main man in my life. So I'll try not to let it get to that point. But if he were to say to me, hey, this is bothering me, then I'm going to make sure that situation is adjusted so that he's back at the forefront, because that's where he is.
Right. Okay. Now we see. Well, you said a lot here on social media. What do you think? You say first off, how long do you need to be in a relationship before you should be talking about marriage?
So that one I feel is a really hard answer. I don't feel like there's a right answer for that question because it's going to depend on the people. Okay. It's going to depend on how well you connect. If your goals are heading towards marriage, okay. If you are just out here dating to date, to get some life experiences, to figure out what you like when you date, I feel like it should be, I'm not saying you got to jump into a first date and be like, oh, hey, you know, how do you feel about marrying me? But I feel like it should definitely be known in the forefront. Okay, hey, if we go out on a date, if we have let's say the end of the date comes and it's been a good date. At some point, kind of early, it needs to be known what you're dating for. Because if you're dating to try to get to marriage and the person you're feeling is just dating to date, it needs, like, everybody needs to be on the same page. So it's not like you got to jump in and be like, oh, I want to marry you from the jump, but it should be known that I'm dating to find somebody that I want to marry, not just to, date somebody. So
Right.
it's
Okay.
hard
Now,
to say though, because people are different. So.
right. Okay. Now, when you see online using where it's women proposing to men, how does that feel? How does that feel to you?
If that's what works for them, that's what works for them. I mean, if we're supposed to live in an age of, I know it's not exactly equal, but if we're supposed to live in an age of equality where people are wanting to break gender roles, and if that's what works for them, then it's what it is. If she's making her intentions known and he's the type who, he may not know how to propose or he wants to be proposed to, why can't a man want to be proposed to if one of those things that if it happens, cool. If not, it's whatever works for you. I probably wouldn't, just because I would feel like I would feel really awkward. I don't feel like I would know how to propose to a man. I feel like I could breach the subject of, marriage, but to actually get down on my knee, I feel like I would just feel really awkward. But if it works for somebody else, power to them. That's whatever makes them happy.
Right. Okay. Now, if let's say you right now propose to your man and he says no, is the relationship over?
I would definitely be extremely hurt. And I feel like a conversation would definitely have to be had as to why he said no. And if it's a reason that we can get past, like, are you saying no because you don't want to get married ever? Or are you just saying no because you're scared to get married, or you're not sure what the future holds, or you're insecure about something? Is it something that can be worked past? And if the conversation leads to, I'm probably not going to want to get married ever, then I'm going to have to do some soul searching within myself to say, okay, is the relationship worth not having a piece of paper that says we're going to be, legally bound forever? Or am I so determined to have that piece of paper that says we're legally bound together to walk away and find someone who does? So I'm not going to say that it's over, but it's going to be some conversations that definitely need to be had and some things to look within myself to say, okay, is this relationship worth not having that goal met? Or is that a goal I really truly want and I need to find somebody else who wants to have it with me?
Now, you said, what if his reasoning is because he feels like you emasculated him or took that away from him?
That's going to lead to another conversation of, okay, if I did that and that's how you felt, same thing. Is this something that we can get past? Or do you only think you're going to be able to get past it, and later on, later on down the road, you're going to realize that that was a deal breaker for you? I want some sort of heads up so that it's not all of a sudden, hey, you know what? I thought I could get past it. I can't. It's breakup time. And then I'm sitting there like, caught off guard by it. Or just give me some time to know that, okay, this is a possibility that it might end up in a breakup. I know it's something you can't always know, but like, even in that moment, if I say to you, do you feel like this is something you might break up with me over? You're probably going to have a definitive answer. Now, that could obviously change, but it's just, are we going to be able to get past it? If we can get past it, then we're going to continue forward, and I'm going to do my part to make him not feel emasculated and put him back up in whatever position he wants to feel good in. But if I can't, and he feel like it's a deal breaker, then I have to accept it and move on and, and go on with myself.
I dig it. I dig it. Now, have you ever heard of a pay pig?
Yes.
I saw a video about this yesterday, and it baffled my mind. I'm like, there are girls making money online just being mean to people.
Yes.
Okay. I can't.
Okay. In my relationship, I'm generally submissive. So I'm actually what they call a service submissive. So, and it's not just in the bedroom, like this applies to my whole life. So if he walks in right now, gets off work, walks in right now and says bedroom now, okay, I'm in there, whatever position he wants me in. Or if he walks in, if he wakes me up at 3:00 in the morning and he says, hey, I want you to go make me a tuna fish sandwich, run down to the corner store and get me a bag of chips and a green tea, I'm gonna go do that. But sexually, so the way that I am with people sexually outside of that is it depends on the person. So if it naturally progresses to where I may be a bit more dominant, then so be it. But the thought of physically being mean to somebody, I feel like there's a level of dislike for them that I would have to have. And I'm not that kind of person. Even the people that I actually truly dislike, I still be trying to find ways to like understand, okay, is it something in their life that makes them be this way or what? So I tried to not explore into it like actually, but just kind of like do some research into it to see like, okay, if I wanted to do this, I just don't think I could. I feel like I said, there would have to be a level of within me that I just don't think I could have in myself. I could probably fake it if someone wanted to pay me a lot of money. I could probably fake it, but it would be really hard. Like, I don't know. Power to the people that can do it and the ones that like it, but that's not for Abby. That's not an Abby thing.
Okay. Now, can you personally deal with somebody that does specifically using OnlyFans content, or is I guess a sugar baby or whatever? Can you deal with somebody like that?
I actually am an OnlyFans girl, so it depends on how they approach it. Now, I don't knock anybody for their hustle, and for the girls that can put a lot of their time and effort into really making their OnlyFans be good, I applaud them. But from what I've seen of the girls that do it, they get so business and money making minded that they seem to forget. So whether you're OnlyFans, whether you work at Circle K or whether you work at Walmart or wherever, to me there's a level of rapport that you want to have with your customers, because customers don't want to come in and just feel like, oh well, yes, they're here to make money, but that's all they care about. When my customers come into where I work for my regular job, I might strike up a small conversation. Oh, hey, I give them a compliment. Hey, you have a really nice dress on today, or something like that. Something that still makes them feel like I'm not just trying to hustle as much money as I can out of them. Yes, everybody wants to make money, but you got to have the right approach. So somebody told me once, he said, I have to let you know this. He said, I know you make, content for OnlyFans. He said, but I like the way that you do it, because you don't just jump into it out of the gate. You don't just say, add me on Snap, first thing out of my mouth, buy my pictures. No, because you're still a person. You're still a human being. I don't know if you're even into that. So if their approach is super, super just like obnoxiously aggressive, probably not. But if just them doing it, like if they do it, that's not a deal breaker for me. But what, just like with everything else, what kind of person are you in your business? Are you like trying to make the money, but you're not like ridiculous about it? Okay, cool. I can fuck with that. But if it's just constant, like aggressive, like obnoxious, not for me.
Okay, now how would you deal with it if you found out your man was sending girls hundreds of dollars, of money that should be going into your household?
If it's affecting how our house is able to maintain itself, then I'll speak up and say, hey, I know you want to support these girls. I have no knock for that. I appreciate you supporting people who do something like what I do, but it's starting to affect the ability to pay our bills. It's starting to affect food in our bellies, or if we have kids, food in our kids' bellies. If it's affecting how the household runs the day to day, then I'm going to bring it up as a concern and see if we can find a way to offset that to where he can still do what he wants to do, but the house isn't affected by it in a negative way.
Right.
But it's not affecting it. Okay.
Okay. Now you said, like, how do you feel? I know you said you don't knock anybody's hustle, but how do you feel about mofos paying for stuff that you can get for free?
So if you can get it on the free, cool. But everybody is trying to make money. If this is somebody's business that they're putting time and effort into, I like to get free stuff. Not everybody likes to get free stuff. Everybody likes to get that little hookup every now and then, okay? But you also have to be willing to support people. Like a lot of guys, well, why would I pay for your content when I can go on Pornhub and watch it for free? Well, I may offer a set of content or something about the way that I make my videos or whatever that you may not find on Pornhub. You may be like, hey, you know what? I may have to pay a little subscription fee every month for this, but it's worth it. So if it's worth the price to pay for it, then you need to be supportive. But I mean, if you can get it for free, then great. But I'd rather see people be supportive and be able to say, you know what, I guess it just comes down to, are you getting it for free because it's made available to you, or are you taking advantage of people?
Right.
So I guess that's where it would come into play. Like if someone offers it continuously for free, okay, cool. But I'm the type where if someone, even if they help me, I'm gonna find some way to pay you back. I can't feel like I take advantage of nobody. I don't like it. It's just not how I'm wired. So it's always nice to get free stuff, but people trying to live. So
I definitely dig it. You said the reason I say that is because, like, me personally, I cannot see myself paying for explicit content. You said when I just go to Pornhub. If I'm going to do that,
yeah, no, that's fine. As long as your viewpoint, like I said, it's like with everything else. As long as that's your personal preference. Everybody has their personal preference. Everybody's allowed to have a personal preference. As long as that personal preference isn't being used to put somebody else down.
Okay.
Some people that helps them get off more by paying for it. They're like, yeah, I couldn't go over here, but something about paying for it for certain people just kind of gives them that extra thrill. I don't get it. I'm not the type of person who gets off by that, but I know that there are some people that do. So, power to the ones that are willing to pay for it and the ones that can make the money getting paid for it.
Right. Okay, now you said a YouTuber I watch, you said by the name of Stevie Knight. You said he came out with a video, I think about a month ago, and he said, as a man, if you watch heterosexual porn, you're pretty much gay. Because
So
if you have to look at another man's tip to get off, you're gay.
oh, see, so I guess in a way I get what he's saying, but you're not no heterosexual man is watching the porn to watch the man's dick go in and out. They're watching the woman get fucked. Like that's how I would see it as. Oh, I'm not I don't know any man that's straight that watches the porn so he can be like, yeah, that dick is looking great. No, they're looking at that girl, man, she's taking that dick good, like, man, and they're picturing themselves as the man instead. That's what I assume. I don't know. I've never really talked to a man who watches porn, but I mean, if that's the case, then men who watch themselves fuck women are looking at their own dick. What does that make them? Are they some sort of weird incest? Like, I guess I can see his logic, but it don't make sense to me, and I don't say that I agree. Like, if you're watching porn as a straight man and you're watching men fuck other men, it might be a little on the down low. I mean, if that's the case, you'll just own it and move on with your life. But I don't know any man that's watching hetero porn to watch the dick move. They're watching the girl take the dick.
Right. Because we see all these crazy, you said, things on the internet. You said it just like. Now, recently, I'm sure you saw the Hawk Tuah girl, right?
Yes. Oh my God. My man sent me so much stuff, like all the memes and videos and stuff like that. And they even made her a little sticker on Snapchat. Like it was where you see her head going like this. I was like, but yeah, I still see stuff about the Hawk Tuah girl. I still appreciate the stuff from the Hawk Tuah girl, all the memes and videos and
Okay.
stuff.
Now, she was a teacher and she got fired for that clip going viral. What do you think about that?
So actually, I heard when that came around, she actually did a video discrediting that as a fake rumor. She's actually not a teacher. I don't know what it is that she actually does, but because I saw it and I was like, if that was the case, I understand. It's the same thing with a lot of things. I understand how the schools want stuff to be perceived to children, because if the child was to come across a video, blah, 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 oh, look, there's Miss whatever, it could affect them in a negative way. But for the most part, you're also teaching children that people are not allowed to have separate lives. Anything outside of work. Now, if she had done that, if she was a teacher and she had done that on like school property in front of children, I could understand there being some consequences. But she didn't. So she was on her own personal time. Like I said, I could probably find the link and send it to you, but she actually did do a video where she discredits that she's not actually a teacher. She was fired from any job. But if it had actually been some validity to it, I wouldn't agree with it, because she was on her own personal time. So what she does outside of school, that should have no bearing on her ability to do any sort of job, whether it's teaching, being cashier at Walmart, or being a state senator. That was her personal time. That's her business. So
okay, let's say somebody you're dealing with, you said, ends up going viral for whatever, and then they happen to lose their job or whatever. You said, like, how do you help them navigate trying to getting back? Because you said just the thought of that alone, just losing my job for something I did on my own personal time. You said that's gonna like I think it probably would screw up my self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? Just like as a man, because it's gonna follow you everywhere. You know what I mean? Just like, how personally would you deal with? You said, like, I guess keep your partner uplifted, having gone through something like that.
in whatever way he asked me to. I'm the type of person, when somebody is going through something, I'm gonna ask them, what can I do? Is there something that I can do? Is there something particular that I can do or that you need from me that's gonna help you get back to a good space? So I'm just gonna be there. I'm not gonna ever make him feel like what he did it's not. I'm not gonna put him into a negative light because of it. Because like I said, work and personal life should always stay separate. So if he says to me, hey, you know what, if you could help me, if you just see a job, a job that's hiring and send it my way, I'm gonna do that. If he says, you know what, just you being here with me is enough to help me and let me navigate it myself, then that's what I'm gonna do. Whatever way that's gonna help him get through it is what I'm gonna do for him.
Okay. Now, is chivalry something that's important to you?
I guess it depends. Like, I'm not really. Is it nice? Yes, nice. When a guy opens the door for you or something. I'm a grown woman. If I'm going out to the car, I can open my own door. If we're going someplace, now if you're walking ahead of me and you're gonna open the door anyways, and you hold it open so I can come through too, okay, cool. But even if you don't, I'm already gonna be reaching up because my mind is still gonna be in that somewhat, maintain my own independence while I'm with you. So I don't expect anybody to do anything for me. I don't expect to be, if we go out and you say, hey, I've got the food, I'm paying for it. Okay, cool. If not, I'll probably be like, hey, if you don't want to pay for it, I got you. That's, even when it comes to, I feel like even when it comes to defending your partner, everybody should defend their partner to a point, but outside of that, I don't expect no man to look out for me. I don't put that responsibility on them. If I'm out in public, I take 100% responsibility for my own safety. Now, I know that people are gonna be like, oh, well, things could still happen. Okay, but still, I don't put my safety, I don't put the responsibility for my well-being in anybody else's hands. I keep it in my own. Now, being in a relationship, my man says, hey, I'm going to take this extra step to make sure that you're safe. That's great. But if I say, hey, I'm going out to the store or whatever, I'm vigilant. I'm on guard. I'm taking, in my surroundings and stuff like that. I don't have him come with me to be like, oh, you got to come to the store with me and protect me from every little bitty. I don't feel like that's something that needs to exist nowadays, because why is it only men have to do these things, these acts of kindness for women, when these same women don't do it for other women? They don't do it for other people. What's the, I guess I just don't, it's not something that's, I'm not saying anybody gotta go around being you gotta be a dick, but I don't really care about it.
Okay, now, all right. Say you're out in public with your man. Do you find it disrespectful if he's looking at other women?
Because I'm pointing them out. I'm dead serious. Like, even when I was in monogamous relationships, because like I said, I'm still bisexual. So I accept the fact that every person, we're all human beings. Okay. So even if you're in a committed relationship with one person, you're going to notice if another person's attractive. And it's not because you're being disrespectful to your partner. It's just the way that life is. Mm-hmm. So if we're out in public, most of the time, it's going to go one of two ways, the way that it's currently for me. Either he's going to point out and be like, God, no, look at that ass. Or I'm going to be like, baby, look at that ass. God, no. I can be what they call, I can be as bad as a man about that stuff. So I don't find it disrespectful. I don't hate on anybody that does, but I also feel like you're taking out the fact that just noticing that someone is attractive to me is not disrespectful. That's just being human. That's just what we're gonna notice these things. I guess it's just how you react to it. If you feel like your person making a comment about it in a obnoxious way is disrespectful, okay, cool. I get that. But to just be like, if we were out and I was in monogamous place and I was like, man, she's kind of hot. Okay, I'm gonna look and be like, yeah, I can see how she looks kind of hot, or it's not really my type.
Okay. Okay. Now let's say your man today says, I don't want to do this poly thing anymore. I don't want you messing with no other women. I want it to be just you and me. That's it. Would that be something you'd be comfortable with?
Mm-hmm. If he was to walk in right now and he'd be like, all right, it's just going to be us, no other women, no other men, no nothing, just us. Okay, then it is what it is.
Now, you said realistically, do you think you said fair to you because you identify as bisexual?
Yes, because I do not. That's one thing I don't like, because I don't like people who use their bisexuality as a reason to. I see a lot of women do this, and it actually really irritates the fire out of me. If you are a female, even if you are bisexual, if you are in a monogamous, committed relationship, you are not. It is not okay to use your sexuality as a reason to fuck women. To me, that is still cheating. To put it under, well, I have needs. Okay. Using that logic, if your man says, oh, I fucked this other woman because I have needs, if you open the door, you can't be mad when other people step through it.
Right.
To me, if you're going to be monogamous, you with that person. You don't get to say, oh, well, I'm bisexual and I need a woman. No, I've never, ever, because I don't need that if I'm with one person and I choose to be with that person alone.
I definitely dig that. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason I ask is, like, in a way, I guess I looked at it as you said, if that were to happen to you, he's stifling what you want. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying. If he came to me and he said, hey, I wanted to just be us, if I still really wanted to fuck other people, then I would make it known, hey, that's not going to work for me. But the type of person that I am, I don't need it. Do I like the thought of us finding a third or another female to join, or other women, even more than one female? Yeah, that would be really nice, because then I could have, even if the term's not exactly liked, but I'm cool with having sister wives. We can all love the same man and be best friends and go out, roam the bookstore, or sit at home and binge shows or read smutty books or whatever. It would be cool, but it's not something that I need. So for me personally, if he was to come and say, hey, it's just going to be us, it is what it is. Everybody's going to go into the friend zone, male, female, whatever.
Now, last question before we get up out of here. And I asked this to a lot of people, and I posed this as a question on my Facebook. You said taking accountability. If your son were to meet a woman just like you, would you be okay with that?
Yep.
And why you say that?
The type of person that I am, one, it's probably my downfall, but I'm a people pleaser. So I take everybody's feelings into consideration. Before I make a decision, I think, okay, hey, if I'm with somebody, how is this going to affect them? How is this going to affect the family? B, is this going to make anybody feel some type of way? I consider myself a very considerate person. I'm not going to say, like I said, I have my moments. I may get caught up in something, or if I'm put on the spot, but I never have negative intentions towards anybody. So if I make a split decision and I don't have time to say, hey, I need to consult my man, they're like, hey, you know what? We don't have time to wait for this. We need you to make a decision now. There's nothing ever ill-intended behind what I do. Now, if it comes back and someone says, hey, you did this, you may not have meant to, cause some harm, but you caused some harm with this, I'm also going to take accountability for what I did, and I'm going to find and ask ways to make it right. So if he dated someone like me who is willing to consider those, those other feelings and other viewpoints and other cultures and things like that, and even with taking that into account, and they don't mean to cause harm, but they still cause harm, and they try to make it right, then that's the kind of person that I want him to be with. It's the kind of person that I try to raise my kids to be. So that would be, to me, that would be a win for them because I know that person is going to try to take care of them because that's what I do for my person. I take care of my man. I cater to him. I cater to his needs, and in return, he takes care of me. So if my sons, I have 3 of them. If my sons were to find somebody, male, female, whatever, that said the same thing or acted the same way, then I know that my kids would be safe because A, they're never going to get cheated on. Their person's always going to take their feelings into consideration. And even if they cause unintentional harm, they're going to try to make it right. And that would be a win for me, for my kids.
That's what's up. Now, before we get up out of here, tell everybody how they can get in contact with you.
The easiest way would be to hit me up on Snap. I'd have to probably comment it on because I changed the name recently and I can't remember exactly which way I put it because I changed a bunch of different, all my usernames on everything. So, but Snapchat really is the best way to get at me. I'm usually on there the most. Second best thing would be Facebook. And that would be Shuto. Hit me up anytime. I know a lot of people probably ain't gonna like what I had to say, but
hey, I thought it was great. I thought it was great. Now, with that being said, if you guys like this video, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on that bell notification so you don't miss another video. Without further ado, I love you. Miss Abby loves you. We out of here, man. Peace.
The boy Dub Deuce in the building.